The Chicago Sky adding new players to the team amongst other injury updates to the team. And Cathy Engelbart might have just fucked up. We're going to get into all that and more on today's Chicago Sky Central.
Welcome to Chicago Sky Central, and here's your host, Haize.
What's going on, Sky fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Sky Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Sky related. I'm the host here, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chicago Sky Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into the content for today. And we are definitely going to talk about Cathy Engelbart and some of the reactions from around the league in regards to her comments, because it's been crazy, and I really think she was extremely short-sighted in some of those thoughts. But I want to focus on the Chicago Sky first with this. So as most people know, we did drop a emergency video earlier in the day. The Chicago Sky have added to their team Kela Davis, added to the team with DeShields being out. She was ruled out for today's game, on top of losing Angel Reese for the rest of the season as well. That took the Chicago Sky down to 9 players. They were granted a hardship contract, so they signed Kela Davis to that hardship contract. She's 6'2". She's played in 102 games with 22 starts in her WNBA career between 2017-19, 2020, and 2022. She spent some time briefly with the Chicago Sky in 2022 as well. She played in college in Georgia Tech and South Carolina. She was a 10th overall pick in the 2017 draft. She appeared with 93 games with the Dallas Wings from 2017 to 2019, averaging only 5.7 points per game, 1.9 rebounds per game over that time. And since then, her career hasn't really been anything to like write home about by any stretch of the imagination, but she is bringing some size. She's bringing some versatile, at least on paper. She also has played overseas, where she's averaged over 15 points per game overseas in several leagues over there as well. So she is a player that has played recently. And I think the reason why the Sky went out and added her rather than some of the other players that, you know, a lot of Sky fans have been mentioning over the last couple of weeks comes down to she's a veteran. She's somebody who come in, pick up a system right away. You don't have to really worry about integrating her or taking a long time to integrate her or anything like that. She's coming right in, and she's going to be able to fill that role. Similar makeup to DeShields, kind of similar skill set, not the caliber of player DeShields once was, but a similar skill set to that. And I think that's what the Sky were coveting in this signing, about getting her in here. And I think it's a pretty straightforward signing. You know, I hope that she's able to come in here and contribute. We'll see how she places in the rotation. Does she get in the game? Teresa Weatherspoon has gone 10 deep at times, but mainly stayed around 8, 9 deep. So, you know, we'll see what happens with that, especially with the Sky trying to compete for a playoff spot. They hold a 1.5 game advantage over the Atlanta Dream right now. They want to get a win over the Washington Mystics again today. And the Sky just want to keep the winning up. And if they can do that, you know, it's going to go a long way in helping the Sky lock in that final play-in spot. Every other team has their playoff spot locked in. So the Sky are trying to fight for that final playoff spot to really be that team that can get some playoff experience for their young players. And with the Atlanta Dream being on a 2-game losing streak, while the Sky are on a 2-game winning streak, this is the time for the Sky to push that a little bit further, especially with matchups against the Mercury and the Lynx coming up in the next couple of games as well. I think I have those two reversed. So, you know, be on the lookout to see how the Sky perform in this game. Dana Evans has played better. Kennedy Carter has been exactly what we needed her to be. With Isabel Harrison being in that starting lineup, she's looked good so far in the one game. Camila Cardoso is playing she's playing her best basketball since the Olympic break. So the Sky are riding with some momentum now, and there's going to be a key thing to see if they can take that momentum and help that push them into now making the playoffs this year, in a year where not many people had them making the playoffs in the first year of Angel Reese and Camila Cardoso being on the team. So if they're able to do that, that just goes a long way in the longevity of this team and getting them some experience while we're still trying to build out that long-term roster here with the Chicago Sky. So overall, Kela Davis is coming in. I think she's going to be solid enough as a veteran piece for the Sky. And who knows? She could actually surprise some people with the way that she's able to play here as well. So stay on the lookout for that. But I think it's going to be, you know, really big to see how that continues to develop. Angel Reese had a successful surgery yesterday, posting to Instagram and the social media afterwards, showing her, you know, her bandaged up wrist. Again, if they caught the hairline fracture early enough, it's really not a risk of anything long-term as well at all. If the Sky were like a team that had legitimate chances to like win a championship, she probably honestly would be able to come back before the finals. But, you know, of course, not expected the Sky to make that far. So, you know, that's what it is. Next, we'll see Angel Reese is in Unrivaled. But it's good that she got the surgery. It was successful. It's out the way because Angel Reese has work that she has to do this offseason. On top of being in the unrivaled league and things like that, she also needs to work on her offensive game. I think everybody knows and understands that. And she's going to be, working on that. Angel Reese is a dog, and she has the mentality that she wants to be the best that she can. And regardless of the detractors or anything else, Angel Reese is going to put in work to continually improve. And the Sky, in building their facility is not going to be open quite yet, though. They don't have that space for her to work out in the offseason, but, she's going to be putting in that work. I would not be surprised if she gets in the gym with some of the best trainers around to work on her game as well. And then the arrival thing is going to be a nice tune-up for her as well. So I think all those things are going to go in the direction of Angel Reese just continually improving for the Chicago Sky team. It's good that she's in good spirits. She has the brace on. She has those type of things. And at this point now, we just get to, go to the end of the season, look at the offseason and prepare for next season. See how Jeff Pagliosha is going to improve this roster. We'll be covering Unrivaled. We'll be covering Athletes Unlimited, which is closer to the start of the WNBA season. But we'll be bringing you guys all those matchups here and all those things here. So, we'll be watching the development of Angel Reese closely. She's already said people are going to see her around Chicago. She's going to show up to some Bulls games. She's in really good spirits, but we need that work. And I have no doubts. I know some of her detractors are going to say as soon as she shows up at a Bulls game, people are going to say, well, why ain't she working on her game? She's going to be working on her game. I have no doubts of that. I'm glad that she got the surgery. It's out the way. And now we get to see, how she improves from season 1 to season 2. And I, for one, I'm not going to speak for everybody, but I'm super excited to see how she continues to grow and how how we continue to grow as a team and we adapt as a team as well. But with that said, man, those two topics out the way, we got to get into these recent comments from Cathy Engelbart. Now, Cathy has always been somebody that as a commissioner, I've always, had my issues with, right? As far as like the management of the game, of the league and things like that, some of the promotion things. But we've seen, of course, with the uptick of the fan base of the WNBA rise this offseason because of Caitlin Clark, because of Angel Reese, because of the new crop of young players coming into this league and the, building off that momentum that came from the NCAA tournament, there was always going to be a lot of growth to the game. And with that comes more idiots, just to be quite frank. And, she was asked about the homophobic, the racial comments, and she said this. It's really fucking frustrating that she's taken like this. Said, she asked about the darker and more menacing tone taken by fans. She said this. How do you try to stay ahead of that, try to tamp it down or act as the league when two of your most visible players, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, are involved? Not personally, it would seem, but their fan bases are involved in saying some very uncharitable things to one another. She followed up by saying this. WNBA players are really looked at now as cultural icons. When you have that, there's a lot of attention on you. There's no more apathy. Everybody cares. It's a little bit of the Bird magic moment, if you recall, from 1979 when those two rookies came in from a big college rivalry, one white, one black. So we have that moment with these two. Social media is different today than what it was in 1979. It didn't exist in 1979. I don't even know why she even made that comparison to social media in 1979. Social media did not exist in 1979, Cathy. And she says this, I always tell players if someone's typing something in you and you wouldn't ask their advice, ignore it. So your response to protecting your players, both, and here's what I'll say, they both have gotten comments from idiots, right? Yes, I am an Angel Reese fan. I am a Chicago Sky fan, but both. And it's gone out to more than just Angel and Caitlin Clark, but your response to that is to ignore it, right? And I get it. As somebody who runs the league, there's only so much that you can do. But this is drawn Breanna Stewart, Sydney Colson, Alicia Clark. Everybody has basically come out and said that Cathy Engelbart should have came out and talked more strongly against it, right? And that's the thing that you have to look at it for, is that when the players, and that's the thing, more than fans, more than me sitting here on this podcast, I always tend to look at how do the women that are in this league, one of the most progressive leagues in the world, trying to grow women's sports and women basketball, how do they respond to something like this? And their response from a lot of them has basically been disappointment in the commissioner, the person who's supposed to be spearheading this league. And that was what's most disappointing about it, is that Cathy Engelbart sat up there and gave a political answer to something where she should have outrightly denounced it. And the fact that she did not do that leads the area for it to continue happening, because now the expectation, per Cathy Engelbart's words, are the players should basically be ignoring it. Why are they letting it get to them while they are trying to do their jobs and do what they're best in the world at and play a sport, that they're being attacked racially, that they're being attacked by people who are fucking idiots. The fact that I, on this podcast, have had more vitriol to say about protecting the women in this league than the commissioner, that's fucking sad. Now, am I sitting here on this side of it expecting somebody to say something who's in an executive position? I get that. I understand the anonymity that I have in being able to talk here on a platform that I control, that I created, and all that type of thing. I understand not being a public figure. I understand that not being that, it gives me a little bit more leeway to say some things and to come out strongly against things that maybe Cathy Engelbert has the latitude to do. But at the same time, you got to be better than it. Now, when even WNBA WNBPA, the Players Association director, said this. Here's the answer that the commissioner should have provided to the very clear question regarding the racism, misogyny, and harassment experienced by players. There's absolutely no place in sport or life for the vile hate, racist language, homophobic comments, and misogynistic attacks our players are facing on social media. That's it. Breanna Turner coming out and saying, I stand against all forms of discrimination, hatred, bias, especially in reference to sports. The intersection of racism and sports should always be rejected. No platform is too big or small to stand for the right thing. No excuses. Breanna Stewart saying, I saw the interview today. I've been in talks with Terry and the WBPA. It's kind of disappointing to hear because the way that the fans have surged, especially behind Caitlin and Angel coming into this league, but also bringing a race aspect to a different level, there's no place for that in our sport. That's really it. We want our sport to be inclusive for race, gender, and really a place where people can be themselves. We wish Cathy would use her platform in a different way. The disappointment that's coming down from WNBA players because of this, I think should speak loud. And that's the sad part in all, is that the players don't feel protected, that the players are coming out more where the person that's supposed to be leading this league had an opportunity to denounce all the bullshit. And here's what I'm going to say, and I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. All you little bitch-ass motherfuckers who sit here and talk shit about these women who are trying to come out here and compete because you're too much of a sissy and you ain't never played a sport in your fucking life need to shut the fuck up. And I've seen you guys in the comments, and I'm always going to flame every single one of y'all when y'all come in live on Chicago Sky Central. The commissioner may not want to speak out against it, but guess what? I will use my platform to speak out against it. And anybody, I'm telling you right now, we have the voicemail line. Anybody who wants to speak out against it, man, woman, child, anybody who watches and consumes the WNBA that wants to speak out against the bullshit, please feel safe to do that here at Chicago Sky Central. And that's all I got to say on that. Now, moving on from that, we do got some voicemails that we need to catch up on. Not about this, but let's go ahead and play that now. The first one, this one's from Tech.
From the 815, I was just calling about the Chicago Sky, and I was just thinking about the off season and thinking about even as bad as the season has turned out. But since after the break that they're a good team, I was thinking things they should do. I think they need to get rid of Dana, Breanna, and Diamond. It's just not a good fit for what's going on. And man, if they can get Odyssey Sims, Satu Sabali, but I really like Satu Sabali with the Chicago Sky, a player at small forward, and I just think the sky is the limit. I hope they can bring Brennan Maxwell back. If you think bringing Brennan Maxwell back and getting a really good small forward that can score, Satu Sabali, maybe an Odyssey Sims, but just filling in the team with some scoring needs. And there's options out there, but it'd be really great if they can get a Satu Sabali or Odyssey Sims. Whether, Satu Sabali, I would like her to start. If it's Sims, you can bring her off the bench where, our bench ain't giving you nothing. You can get something from her. But, man, if we can get a Satu Sabali, Odyssey Sims, or some kind of defensive piece, real nice defensive piece that we can place on our bench, man, I think we'd be good. I think our team is good. We just need a couple of pieces to really good. And I think that if we can get Brenda Maxwell back and Elizabeth healthy because she's injured, and add a couple more pieces, man, I think the Sky can be very dangerous and very potent for years to come, and even next year if they can get that scoring punch. Elizabeth come back and get one defensive weapon through free agency. I think we could be extremely dangerous next year.
Diamond and Dana have to go. I mean, listen, I tend to agree with you. I think we need better point guard play. I've been a big fan of Dana Evans for years, and it really does suck. Like, I really was hopeful her coming into this situation, the starting point guard at the start of the season, playing with Angel, playing with Camilla, that we were going to get the best out of Dana Evans. And unfortunately, whether it's a situation or whatever, I don't think Dana Evans sucks. I know a lot of people say that. I don't think that this team has kind of allowed her to go to her strengths because of different things and different makeups of the team over the course of the years. But I do think that overall, yeah, it's kind of gone that way. And Diamond DeShields, like, I love Diamond for what she's done for the Chicago Sky. I absolutely do. But I think at some point you just got to get to the point where this isn't the place for you to work out your kinks. Yeah, we're a rebuilding team, but at the same time, we want to be building, not rehabbing a veteran player. And it's a lot different when you have a young player that's going through the ups and downs than a veteran who's supposed to kind of be the stabilizer there, in my opinion. Now, as far as the two, that would be my target number one, because I think this is a point guard heavy draft, so you don't have to necessarily target a point guard. So two would be my number one target to add to the Chicago Sky team. If you get a solid point guard, and as you said, bring Breanna Maxwell back as a shooter off your bench, add Satu to that as well. Listen, there's no reason to believe that this Sky team can't go from fighting for 8th seed to being around 4th or 5th in the WNBA, and maybe even more depending on how Camilla and Angel grow their game over the offseason. So I agree with everything you left in this voicemail. I actually think you laid out a great offseason plan, and we just got to see if the Chicago Sky are able to execute it. Let's hope so. Jeff Pagliosha, as I've said many times, has my faith as of right now, and let's see what comes about that. All right, let's get into the next and the last voicemail. This one's from Nate.
What's going on? Hey, Nate. It's about the Sky. I want to know, what is your take on the whole Breanna Stewart situation? Her basically asked for a trade. I was like, okay, good. We got two first-round picks out of it. Didn't really care about the second-round pick we gave them. First-round picks is an extreme commodity, especially in the WNBA. And, I was okay, we got role players. Fine. I knew we're definitely going to suck this year, rest of the year. But the constant throwing shade and throwing dirt, like, hey, yeah, I never been a part of this. And, I thought that was just a little too much. And, right before you playing team, and I saw the video of everyone walking past her, got her back turned. It's like you gave the vibe of, I kind of did them wrong. If I'm on a team and somebody like, hey, I want to get traded, and you don't even say anything, I'd be pissed too. I'd be like, oh, we're trying to do something, we're trying to win, and the rookies, they can't win the program, so they want to win. So of course, I'm pretty sure they're upset, but I saw really no one gave her a look. Not really none of the coaching staff. One of the personnel gave her a hug, but I was what's your take on that? And I saw the mock draft you guys are talking about having Kiki first and Paige second, whatever, which is fine. I think that Dallas wants to replace Satu because she probably told them, hey, I'm not coming back, and they kind of feel it, which is, I'm hearing more traction about Satu going to Chicago. So, but, thanks for hearing the voicemail, and thanks for your contribution to Chicago Sky, man. Been listening for a while, long time listener, long time supporter. All right, appreciate it.
Listen, the turmoil between Breanna Stewart and the players or whatever happened there, listen, that's just competitive nature. I don't really care about that too much. I hope that it continues in a respectful but competitive sense. And yeah, Breanna left because she wanted to go out and compete, and that's her right. I'm not going to falter for that. The Chicago Sky did go through 2 rebuilds. One of those rebuilds brought her in here, and then another one set the team on a much younger and longer path to get back to actually being a championship contender. I'll take that. As far as the 2 first-round picks, I think you got a great deal in that. Getting first-round picks back from Breanna Stewart, one that's an outright pick. The other one is a pick swap, so if their pick's worse than yours, you get to swap that. I love that. I think Jeff Pagliosha has done an amazing job at that. And as far as Breanna throwing shade, I just look at her as being honest. I don't look at it as like she's saying a thing like she shit on the players or anything like that. I think she just talked honestly about where this team was and where she wants to be with her career as she's getting closer to 30 and she wants to compete. That's just my personal opinion on it. But you guys can let me know, as always, what you think down below. Make sure you're following the show at Chicago Sky Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoSkyCentral@gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Sky related, thanks to you guys. And like I like to end every episode on, go Sky. Love you guys. And I'll see you guys the next time we go to Skytown. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.